but winter's version's on ice. You know the feeling. The rubber's on the road where it belongs, and suddenly your south has headed north. Ice sailing. Here's what to do. Take your foot off the gas and put your hands on the steering wheel at 9 and 3 o'clock. Gradually apply brakes and turn the wheel in the direction of the slide. And next time you head through the Crystal City, slow down. It takes 4 to 10 times as long to stop on ice. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us.
Brought to you by Royal Purple Synthetic Oil, the performance oil that outperforms.
My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know. I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, it was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best, as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things. It's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push, you feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does, so safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally, but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project, and you gotta hit it every day. My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer.
And welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We've also opened our secondary, or actually it's our primary 888 number that we've added years ago to make it easier if you're driving down the road. It's hard to remember those numbers, so just remember 888 Car Clinic, and that's 888 227-2546. We already have Jim from Michigan that's in the queue, so I'll be coming back to, after the break, to Jim. And I want to remind each and every one of you that today's a special day. I'm going to be wishing my daughter's birthday. One birthday is actually today, and they're a year 2 days apart. The other birthday is the Monday. Duh.
Which day?
Yeah. Well,
careful.
Careful. Yeah. It's like, they really are great girls, and I'm very fortunate. And one of them has a special day today. She's 40. She's not. I can't
probably shouldn't say.
Okay. Never mind.
Some women don't like that.
Yeah. That's right. Actually, my daughters could care less. They just love to hear that I'm talking about them. Maybe they're watching on WatchBobbyLive.com. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by CRC Industries. Reclaim your power with CRC One Tank Power Renew. Real test, folks. Real data. and real results. Also, when I come back, I'll share a little information about O'Reilly Auto Parts, and I'll take your calls at 888-227-2546. Hi, folks. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Vehicle Maintenance Spotlight, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Need new brakes? If your brakes are spongy or squealing, or your vehicle won't stop without pumping them, the answer is yes. Before your brakes fail, find the quality brake parts you need at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Brands you trust, like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermal Quiet, all at guaranteed low prices. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly.
If it's hard to stop or you hear squealing and grinding noises during braking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find the brake parts you need from trusted brands like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermo Quiet at everyday low prices. Play it safe with brake parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Engine Care Spotlight, brought to you by CRC Industries, makers of Brake Clean. Driven any new cars lately? Stunning, with beautiful lines and handsome fit and finish. Today's vehicles also produce lower emissions, good for the environment. The key is recirculating exhaust gas, but this can generate harmful carbon deposits when untreated, can lead to pinging, lower MPG, and power loss. CRC Top Engine Cleaner is designed to remove harmful engine deposits that cause performance problems like pinging or knocking, decreased gas mileage, rough idling, and power loss. Using the attached extension tube, spray an entire can of CRC Top Engine Cleaner directly into the throttle body with engine idling at 2,000 RPM. Turn off the engine, let soak for 20 minutes, then restart. The vehicle will dispel white smoke from the exhaust. Drive until the smoke disappears. Find more automotive maintenance solutions at crcindustries.com or find them on Facebook at CRC Auto.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Where are you going?
To kill the weeds.
Whoa, don't kill the grass too, like you did last time.
Hey, wise men make mistakes. They just don't make them twice.
What's different this time?
This time, I've got Ortho Weed Begone Max. It kills weeds down to the root, but unlike other products, it doesn't kill the grass.
Ooh, so impressive.
Well, I've done it the wrong way, so I figured I might as well try it the right way.
I'm all for that.
Kill the weeds, not the grass. Get Ortho Weed Begone Max and defend what's yours.
Being there matters, and your United States Navy protects and defends America on the world's oceans. Around the globe, around the clock, Navy ships, submarines, aircraft, and most importantly, tens of thousands of America's finest young men and women are ready to defend America when piracy threatens global commerce, when disaster strikes, or when called upon by the Commander-in-Chief. Your Navy is there. When it comes to protecting and defending America, being there matters, and America's Navy is already there.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with today's broadcast because I'm chomping at the bit. This is going to be a tremendous show because I'm going to have fun and you're going to have fun, and we're going to talk about a fun thing, and that's your cars. And cars they certainly bring me a lot of pleasure. I love a clean car. I think everyone loves a clean car. I'm sure that not everyone loves to clean their car, but that's where I think probably I and a lot of car guys like me are different. Because we truly do enjoy driving the car. The problem is you clean a car, you get it all perfect, you put it in the garage, and then you go in, you take your shower, and you say, okay, I'm going to take my car out. Maybe it's the next day, whatever. And you get in the car and you sit, and overnight, I know this is strange, folks, but it's a fact. Overnight, some amount of dust from the garage or just the air, maybe just 5 or 6 little on the hood, collects on the hood. So you get in the car and you say, what is this? I just dried this car, I just cleaned it and what have you. And if you're like me, you get out and you dust the car. So what I need is a clean a cleaner environment.
Sterile.
Sterile.
Bobby, sterile garage.
Oh, and online this week, a friend of mine sent me. It says you got to have this house. In fact, it was Jim Bloss in Camden, Canton, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and he sends me this picture of this house. He said you got to have one of these. And folks, It wasn't a house. It was a garage. It looked like a house, and it had picture windows, and it was filled with Ferraris. And I said, I'd like to see the house that belongs to that house. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And if you're not an O Rewards member yet, what are you waiting for? Now you can sign up online at orewards.com. You start earning $5 back for every $150 you spend. Visit orewards.com and become an O'Reilly O Rewards member today. It's fast, it's easy, and it's free. Let's take a call from Jim in Michigan. I see that Landon is returning a call from a conversation we had recently, so that's going to be interesting, and I'll invite you to call. Ted will take your calls at 888-227-2546. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I'll comment before I ask my question on your statement. You want a clean car, where I got my oil changed this week after owning the car a year. They said anytime you want, bring in your car and we'll wash it for you for free. Now, I want to say you want to keep the customer.
Well, to that end, Jim, I always wanted to put a car wash in my shop, and when I built my own shop in 1975, I wanted to build my own car wash and of course there's a big expense there, but hats off to that establishment, because it truly clean cars, years ago. It's not so prevalent today because cars are made better and the joints and the rubbers and what have you. But I will tell you that years ago, when we had more rattly cars than we do today, I would advise people never to buy a car in the rain, because a car that's wet or just been washed rides better. It does, because all the joints are lubricated, no rattles, and your son works for GM on the assembly line, or did?
You remember well, pal.
Yeah. Hey, what can I do for you today? How you doing?
Okay, I'm doing pretty good. I had my Malibu for 1 year. We didn't drive much because of the extremely bad weather in winter, and which wrecked the roads in Michigan.
Yeah.
We only had 2,408 miles on it. And the only reason then that they would oil change it is because it had not had its first oil change for a year.
Right.
My question, I'm going to try to make it simple so it won't take up any time. They said now you could go in at the end of winter, but if you don't have 2,000, they really say, why don't you wait it out, because you're running synthetic oil. What can customers do like me we usually keep a car 10 to 15 years. If we're only going to drive low mileage like that, is it going to wreck the car to get a an oil change once a year?
Well, that's a great point, and to that end, number one, they mentioned synthetic oil, and yeah, it did come with a 2013 Malibu Dexos, which is a synthetic oil, which that's a good point for all of our listeners to and on Watch Bobby Live, our viewers, to understand that if you're going to run oil longer, then you need to start with an oil that's better to start with. Not that some conventional oils, there are some great conventional oils out there, but when it comes to standing up to heat or standing down to cold, and when I say standing down to cold, I'm talking about an oil's ability to flow when you first fire it up. And for you, that's more important than the hot protection, because you drive so infrequently that your engine has time to sit, and sits a lot, and all the oil, except for a film of oil, drains off the parts. So there are some pieces and components in that vehicle that don't get properly lubricated until after it's running, because its heart doesn't stay running like ours does. It only starts and pumps oil after the engine's already moving. So there's no problem changing the oil, but definitely you want to put it on a birth date, or put it on something that is easy for you to remember, and you can celebrate the oil change and maybe the wash job and what have you. Not that you're going to wash it once a year, but the bottom line, that's a good idea. And to that end, and Jim, you and I, you've been a loyal Car Clinic fan for years. If you remember, I've talked about one of my cars and changing the oil annually because I don't drive it often, and I use a Royal Purple synthetic. Well, lo and behold, this year, Royal Purple has a 1 year, one oil change pledge. So for your information, and they have some more technical, I won't go into the technical, but why don't you go to royalpurple.com and take a look at their 1 year, one oil change pledge and get the bottom line. And the extended bottom line would be 12,000 miles. I think that's 1 year or 12,000 miles. And then they always, as any aftermarket company would and should, say 1 year, one oil change pledge from Royal Purple, or whatever your manufacturer recommends, because they can't make the rules. Your manufacturer made the car. The irony there, and before I let you go, is the oil change indicator on your Malibu can run 9,000 miles or it can run 22,000 miles, and really has nothing to do with what's in the oil. It has to do with algorithms. And, well, I figure that, this is GM. We figure that if you ran the car at such and such a throttle, at such and such a RPM for such and such a speed, then your oil life is used up. I mean, it makes sense overall, but specifically not. So 1 year, one oil change pledge by Royal Purple. And congratulations on the shop that gives you a free wash. I'd love to be able to position to do that. I just may do that just for grins. Hey, always good to talk with you today, and always thank you for your call.
And happy birthday to your 40-year-old daughter. Ours will be 40 in 2 years.
Well, my daughter Misty will be 40 Monday. Today, my oldest daughter is 41. They're a year and 2 days apart. And I know Tony says don't say that on the air. Hey, what are they going to do? I wish them happy birthday. They're going to shoot me?
Considering you're on your way up there shortly.
Well, that may be. Okay. Hey, Jim, thanks, and appreciate your kind words.
Anytime, pal.
Okay,
have a good day.
Nice guy. He knows cars too. He lets on like he's calling me for advice, but his son works for GM, and not only on the assembly line, but is one of those assembly line bosses, if you would. Let's go to Landon from Missouri. Landon, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yes, sir. Last week you recommended I do a
compression test.
Compression test because I have a rough idle.
Right.
Okay, number 1 cylinder was 101, number 2 was 100, number 3 cylinder was 95, and number 4 was 100.
Well, this was after like 5 or 6 pumps?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's extremely low.
Is it?
Yes, sir. 135. I mean, any cylinder that after 5 or 6 pumps it won't pump 135 is suspect. I can't remember any healthy engine ever pumping less than 135 to 40. And it's been a long time since I've personally screwed a gauge in and ran a compression test. Well, anyway, but let's just say that you've got some wear, or let's say you've got a really
got
low.
120,000 on it.
Well, still, 120,000. It should actually pump more compression. If it was healthy, if your engine were healthy, it would pump more compression at 125,000 than it would at 1,000, because it has less room in the chamber, because it has carbon on top of the pistons, coating the valves and coating the combustion chamber. In fact, in a drag machine, or in a car. Not drag machine, but in an engine where the size of the engine is dictated by the rules and regulations, which is in every racing category that I can think of. You have to make sure that there's no carbon in the cylinder, because they'll actually use a CC method and measure the compression ratio in that respect. Got to take a short break, Landon. Stay right there. Come back. And you too, Jim. I'll be back.
Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, be sure your brake job is complete by replacing all the brake hardware with Carlson Quality Brake Hardware. Why? A brake job is more than simply replacing shoes and pads. Fact is, when you also replace springs, clips, and other hardware parts that hold all brake components in place, your brakes will perform better and last longer. It's a small investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right. Invest in the best. Invest in Carlson Quality Brake Hardware kits with every brake job.
O'Reilly.
Eventually, it's going to happen. You'll turn the key and your engine won't start. Don't lose your ability to get around. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a Super Start battery. Whether it's a reliable economy, hard-working premium, or powerful extreme, you'll find it at an everyday low price. Don't let a dead battery slow you down. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction. Brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or friction? Low engine temps are a sign of good engine health. Friction. You know, engines that run hot are just a step away from overheating, but engines that run too cool are also in danger. Why? Low engine temps can cause dreaded water intrusion. Water collects in oil when the natural condensation that occurs in engine startups is not dissipated, typical of short trips when engines aren't brought to full operating temperature. Not only can water intrusion rust engine components, but it also erroneously adds to the oil level. An advantage of synthetic oil is its additive package, like Royal Purple's Centerlec technology that combats the hostile environment caused by water intrusion. When choosing oil for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple High Performance Motor Oil. Visit RoyalPurple.com for all the Royal Purple advantages, then pick up Royal Purple today at Pep Boys.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Tom Bodette talking to you on a cell phone to demonstrate how easy it is to make reservations in Motel 6 when you're on the road. Uh-oh, I'm just about to head into a tunnel. Anyway, just call 1-800-4-MOTEL-6. Clean, comfortable room. Lowest price of any national chain. Oh, sorry, this stupid phone's cutting out on me. Man, I hate these things. Call you back. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you. And a Core Hotel.
Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, brought to you by Geico Auto Insurance.
I love you, Romeo.
I love you, Juliet.
Too bad our families hate each other.
Yeah.
How is Geico able to guarantee my claim repairs and still save me money?
Don't know.
I love you anyway.
All right, then.
We can guarantee claim repairs for as long as you own your car, and you could save 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. That's 1-800-947-AUTO.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to today's broadcast. I want to reach out to KBSN 1470 AM in Moses Lake, Washington. Bill Ecret, General Manager and Program Director there on our Car Clinic affiliate, longtime affiliate, which is really way cool to have a longtime affiliate. And we have just a host of longtime affiliates that where, number one, the radio station values the content. So for all of you who run radio stations and you value content, which means you care about your listeners, I thank you. And for all of you listeners who tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic Saturdays from 10 till noon Eastern Time, or for one of those hours, 10 till noon Eastern Time, I thank you. Again, KBSN 1470 AM, Moses Lake, Washington. And Mr. Ecret, Bill, if you're listening, hats off to you as well, sir. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Stant Corporation, the choice of OE, that's the car makers, and the leader in aftermarket caps and thermostats. Find Stant products for your vehicle at stant.com. We're going to go back to Landon, who has a problem with a Ford Ranger. If it were an S10, I could just blow him off. Oh, okay. Well, you know, if you listen to me, you know that S10s are not one of my favorite vehicles, only because I've had a few eat my lunch in the service shop. They can really be perplexing and tough to work on. And some of their ideas, like to talk about Ford, a better idea. Well, some of the GM ideas with the S10 weren't better ideas as well. Okay, and also Ted will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. So Landon, we've got 100 psi of pressure. So I'm thinking about this through the break, and that's really not enough. So that means that we could have a cam that's out of phase. Okay.
We did have trouble with the camshaft.
Now you tell me.
Well, last week when I called you, I told you that I had a mechanic work on it.
Yeah.
And it sets while I'm on the road, and mud daubers had built a nest on the camshaft.
Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah. You told me about that. Yeah.
And it threw it off. Well, the mechanic discovered that and cleaned that off and put a new belt and tensioner on.
Well, think about this, and this is something that I want rechecked. I want you to recheck this. Even if he's already checked it, I want him to recheck it and go back to basics again. If we wanted to pressurize a balloon, we would slip it over the little. Say we're putting helium in the balloon. We've all done that. And you put it over the little nipple and you push a button and it fills the balloon. Well, depending on how long you hold the filler nozzle open is how big the balloon goes until it pops, right?
Correct.
Okay. Think about this. If the camshaft is retarded, what will happen is the piston is in fact, that advances the piston. But, one or the other. It's all relevant to the crankshaft rotation.
Correct.
The piston has already started back up and it travels a great deal farther than it would because the camshaft is late. So if the camshaft is retarded, the intake valve will be late to close. And what that means is the intake valve is still open and the air's not being pressurized.
So it should be advanced more?
And to that end, so the reason I bring this up, this is just saying if you've got good piston rings and good valves, which if at 100 psi, at least they're all the same, and I can't believe they would all be equally bad. The only thing common to 4 cylinders having 100 psi of cranking pressure, if properly performed, and we talked about that, would be
I did it while it was hot.
Good, and would be that and you could possibly add one more test by squirting 2 or 3 squirts of oil, spin it over, and do a wet test as well.
I did that on number 3 where it had 95.
Yeah.
And it went up to 140 psi.
Oh, it did. Oh.
So
it held. Wait. Did you do the other 3 then?
No, I didn't do the others. I just did the one that was.
All right,
lower.
Then it changes my mind because if it will pump 140 psi wet, it tells me that it's not a cam timing problem. If they were all 100 and that was it, it would tell me that something's out of phase here, and so I'd want you to recheck the cam. Here's what you got to do. Well, gosh, you're almost there. We're going to get this right. I'm going to make you get this right. I'm only going to show you this one more time, and I won't go into that joke, but I can tell you this: wet check the cylinder. Do the same thing you did this week
with all the
rest of them, because you've got to determine if you've got uneven. Think about it this way: you got four cadets in a row,
right?
And 3 of them are 6 foot 2 inches, and one of them is my height, 5'7.5". And you're walking on the top of their head, and every time you come to me, you got to step down. That's the way a low compression cylinder does at idle. It steps down. It doesn't do the work, and therefore you've got to rumble, oop, rumble, oop. It's kind of that simple. So, long story short, if I could ever make one that way, wet check all of the cylinders. Do it dry first, so you're assured that the engine is where you started off, and you've got the same baseline. You don't want to change anything. Then do your wet test on all the cylinders and see if they're all at 140. And if you put oil in all of them and one of them still pumps 105 and the other's 140, there you go. You got it. You got ring problems.
Right.
Okay.
It doesn't use any oil.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The oil ring doesn't hold compression. It's on the very bottom. You got a top compression ring and a secondary compression ring. And then you've got the oil ring that scrapes the oil back off the cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my friend, good luck to you. Call me,
all right, sir.
And we'll take the next take another step.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's go to Jim in New York. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, okay, got catalytic converter issues, and I was questioning what causes it to fail. Got a 2005 Buick LeSabre with less than 80,000 miles on it, burning or blowing or using better than 3 quarts of oil per oil change. No oil dripping, oil's going somewhere. And the only code that will kick in is the O2 sensor and a catalytic converter.
Well, the O2 sensor and catalytic converter is the, if you've ever been the recipient of what was the last cup of coffee in the pot, and you see all that debris in the bottom of the pot.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of crap going out the exhaust pipe.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they took it to a General Motors dealership.
Yeah.
They found the oil was pooling inside the engine and the lower manifold. Lower manifold gasket.
I was going to ask you about that next because that's a lot of oil. But anyway, so
Okay, so they basically, in order to do that, those are the only 2 codes kicking, and they cleared the code and ran it for a while. The code kicked back in, and oil continued. The oil continued to be blown somewhere. Use it. We did an oil consumption test. Oil's going. They pulled the engine apart, replaced that, and in the process, they discovered an ignition module failure.
Okay.
I don't know how those 2 are related. An ignition module failure supposedly, I got limited working knowledge of car engines, but the question is, if an ignition module fails, the car's probably going to skip, run rough, and backfire. You got oil going somewhere. All this stuff is basically polluting the whole exhaust system, and the catalytic converter supposedly is designed to clean up the air coming out the back end.
It's designed to burn gas, hydrocarbons.
Okay,
so
back to the original.
Oil. Not oil.
We're back to the original question. A car with less than 80,000 miles with a catalytic converter and O2 sensor failure, I was told conflicting information by General Motors mechanics, and I'm not having an understanding of what's going on here.
What is your question?
What causes a catalytic converter to failure?
Well, most often the pollutants from the engine causes catalytic converter fail because the converter loves. I mean, it's made to burn fuel. It has precious metals in it, and it's made to burn whatever fuel is left over. And there's an O2 sensor, in front of it that helps to tune the engine. Had nothing to do with the converter. And then there's an O2 sensor following the converter that checks the performance of the converter to make sure that, you got dirty air coming out of the engine because the engine's not.
The primary converter, they said, primary O2 sensor, they said it failed, the first one.
Well, yeah, but here's the bottom line. You know that you have some. I'm really surprised that you use this much oil. And let me back up. You said they found a leak in a puddle. Has that been corrected?
They tore the engine down, and over $3,000 later, when engine work, it was at the General Motors dealership for over a month. Wow. They supposedly corrected it. We're going through an oil consumption test now. We're down to a little bit less than a quart of oil for a 3,000 mile oil change.
That's okay.
But that's realistic for an 80,000 mile car.
Well, that's realistic for if you look at brand new automobiles, you'll notice, and you read any owner's manual, the oil consumption. This is why dealers do an oil consumption test, which means that you don't check your oil. They dip the stick and they check it and they add whatever it needs to be, and you just have to go by there and say, okay. It's like having a dentist brush your teeth for you every day. Almost. That's the same thing. But here's the point. There is no specific amount of oil that any given engine should use because any given engine uses oil. Now, most engines today don't use oil. A 3,000 mile quart of oil is a no-brainer, and that's okay. What you can do, and what I'm thinking you can do, is possible that you could use an upper cylinder cleaner, like a commercial grade cleaner. CRC makes, and you've heard me talk about CRC's one tank power renew. Which means that it's used for one tank, which means it's very powerful. It would not bother me to suggest to you that you add the one-tank Power Renew to your car and run that one tank out. And I would not do it on the highway. I would do it over a series of in-town trips so that you have overnight stands, and then you heat it up in overnight stands, because every time it heats up, it dissolves a layer of carbon, and then when you let it overnight stand, you fire it up in the morning, it washes away that top layer.
Would that also help to clean the exhaust system?
That's where I'm going. That's where I want. That's what I'm saying. It's the strongest. CRC one-tank Power Renew is the strongest cleaner that I'm aware of, and I would use that maybe maybe twice, but you got to change the oil afterwards.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. We Americans are outspoken when it comes to choice, whether it's menu selections or political elections. So why not at the pump? E15 and E85 provide an American-sourced alternative for vehicle model years 2001 and later, and flex fuel vehicles, respectively. Opponents claim that drivers will be confused at the pump. This objection is confusing, as drivers have historically chosen among at least 3 different octanes and diesel. In fact, studies show that Americans do want a choice at the pump by a 3-to-1 margin. In the future, choices will be technology-enabled by innovative blender pumps, which will energize retailers and empower consumers to tailor their fueling options to include the ethanol level best suited to their need. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things.
You're good.
And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
P. Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle loaded or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Gluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemurs. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Ted will take your calls at 888-227-2546, 888 Car Clinic. And we're talking with Jim in New York, and we're going to go back to Jim in just a short. I've asked him to hold there through the break. I do want to take this time specifically to wish my daughter, Kimberly, the happiest of birthdays. What a lovely young lady. She is also the mother of 2 sets of twins, boy-girl. Go figure, you know. So a special happy birthday to Kimberly Elizabeth Likis Dunn. I love you very much. What a great young lady she is. And folks, before we go back to Jim, it's time to give away another prize in Car Clinic's another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. This one is really a great prize, valued at $550. It's an Escort Passport Max, the first radar detector with HD radar performance. And folks, the Escort Max is equipped with the unique Escort features like Auto Learn and the Defender database. And the Passport Max delivers faster, quicker response time, greater sensitivity, and is more accurate with its signal recognition. The Passport Max features high-speed digital signaling processing, which removes the interference and identifies radar threats other detectors don't even see. And the Passport Max is compatible with Escort Live. That's Escort's social networking for the road. I have that app on my iPhone. One very lucky listener is about to win an Escort Passport Max, thanks to Ron Jividan at Escort. And in the past, we had winners from Detroit to Houston to Denver, and now we're going to go to Boston. The winner of the Escort Passport Max is Amy Rizak of Boston, Massachusetts. So, Tony, if you would, let's see if we can get Amy Rizak on the line. Now, tell a quick story, folks. I'm coming back from, while Tony is dialing Amy's number, I'm coming back to my office one day. I start to turn the corner. I'm still 3 blocks away from my office, and I have not turned onto my street, and my Max goes off. And lo and behold, right across from my office, there is a radar set up. And I got it before I even turned in this direction. I was blown away. This happened just this past week. Unbelievable. Well, let's see. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be just...
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Well, there you go. You know, it's just stuff happens. Stuff happens. It's live radio. So we're going to go back to Jim. And Tony, would you please continue to get Amy and see what you can call? Maybe she stepped away from the office. I know that I understand that Amy's father actually lives in Lakeland, Florida, and tunes into Bobby Likis Car Clinic on WLKF 1430 AM. That's been one of our affiliates forever and ever and ever. So it's great. Sorry that we missed her. Maybe she had to take a break or something and couldn't get to the phone. But congratulations to her, almost.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. If she can't answer the phone, she cannot accept the prize. That's in the rules. There you go. Jim, we're going to come back to you in New York, and thank you for holding there.
I'm still here.
Well, I appreciate that. And I thought about, while I was trying to call up Amy there, I thought about some other additional things of your car. Number one...
Well, I like your suggestion because I've been asking that same question. What can I add to the engine to help me clean the catalytic converter or the exhaust system?
Well, see, to that
no
end...
one has an answer.
No, because almost all aftermarket fuel injector cleaners, I mean, they all use a similar formulation. I mean, it's like, whether and you know, I'm a follower of Royal Purple oil, and I've also used AMSOIL, and I've also used Mobil One. I mean, those are all Valvoline, Durablend. Those are all good oils.
Repeat that product for all the other listeners as well.
Royal Purple.
Well, no. What you recommended for the, mentioned.
That was, I was going to get to that. The CRC, which is, and you need to go to crcindustries.com, but CRC makes...
They make a great penetrant.
Yeah, they brake clean. Brake clean is, they're famous for brake clean, but here's the bottom line. And I used brake clean before I ever heard of CRC. It's funny, it's CRC's brake clean. Not to me. I'm in the shop here. It's brake clean, man. Anyway, long story short, the CRC came out with, a couple of years ago, as I remember, a one-tank Power Renew. And what's different about that is it's, I don't know how many times, because I'm not the chemist, but I can tell you it's more powerful than the standard injector cleaner or decarbonizer or what have you. So here's what I'm suggesting. And this is not from CRC, so I'm going to take it upon myself. That's my job. I mean, it's my show, and
But after you clean it, you got to dump the oil and clean the filter.
Well, that's right. You got to. But here's what I want to do. I think we should triple dose, or at least double dose, your Buick with 2 applications of CRC one tank power renew, and here's why. And also here's very important that you do not add, and my guidance and my opinion, you do not add CRC one tank power renew to the tank of fuel where you're going to drive from wherever part of New York you live.
We're out in the sticks. We're out in the country.
Well, but the point is, I want the vehicle to be driven 15 or 20 miles or 30 miles and then parked, like an overnight stand, sort of like I come to work and back, and the engine gets up to operating temperature, and then you shut it down, and then overnight, whatever's on the valves, but in your case, whatever's in the converter, will have a chance to cool and soften, and then you fire it up the next day, and you run it again, and I would, in my heart of hearts, whatever goes in the combustion chamber, as you know, goes out the exhaust, and so if you use a double dose of that CRC one tank power renew, then you're definitely going to clean out. Of course, you'll have the cleanest valves and pistons in the world, and hopefully some of that chemical in that solution will be and will wash through and go into the exhaust and help to clean the O2
help
sensor.
Clean and rid out the exhaust. And
why not?
Help the
Why
person
not?
following you.
and then here's what I'd like for you to do ultimately. After these two applications, and it'll probably take you a couple of weeks to make this happen, then I do want you to change the oil and filter, because anytime you use a solvent of any type and you overuse the solvent, some of that solvent migrates into the oil. It happens. It doesn't make a difference whether it's Bobby's cleaner or ABC's cleaner, or in this case CRC one tank power renew. So you change the oil and filter, and then I want you to take a trip, and you had a third trip. Well, the gas station is going to love you, and take a trip, and then with clean oil and no cleaner in the fuel, and run that to run it out. And you've got nothing to lose but a little time and a couple of bucks of investment, and this may just possibly clean the converter. I definitely want you, after you do this test, I want you to call me back and give me a yay or a nay, because I'm kind of breaking new ground here, and this is not from CRC. They're not saying this is going to clean your converter out. I'm saying there has to be some positive effect from a double application of the CRC one tank power renew. Does that make sense?
How many of these 15, 20-minute trips you say before you do the long trip?
Well, the long trip comes after you've used 2 treated tanks. So the long trip should be a long trip. It should be, you want to keep that converter hot for an extended period of time. So it would be at least an hour, at least a good hour and a half trip.
Here's more information for you. When they did all the engine work,
right?
Okay, they reset all the codes and all, and typically they said if the problem comes back with the catalytic converter, it'll come back between 200 and 300 miles. My same code, the catalytic converter O2 sensor code, came back between 800 and 900 miles, the same code that I originally took the car into with a problem.
Right. Well, of course, you had some contamination there, and they cleared the code, and it tried to do its job. The code that comes with a catalytic converter comes there because the converter is not completing the cycle. And just one more technical question, then we're going to go to our escort winner. She's going to be happy. Here's the biggest challenge. The air fuel that goes into the catalytic converter from the engine can never be perfect because the engine is changing all the time. You're on and off the throttle. That just changes, and it can only recover. The primary O2 sensor can only recover so quickly. So whatever's left over has to be burned in the converter, and whatever air comes out or burned fuel or unburned fuel comes out of the converter is measured. and it should be, for all intents and purposes, flatlined. It should be no excessive air, no excessive fuel. It should be flatlined. Whereas the primary O2 sensor is up and down, rich, lean, rich, lean, rich, lean, because the engine, what's called monoca. It monotonous back and forth, which means it goes left and right, lean and rich, lean and rich. So that's how O2 sensors measure the performance of a catalytic converter, and that's how we in the automotive service industry can specifically say the converter's not doing its job. The main thing is why. In your case, we know why, and that's why we're using this unique application. You got it, go do it.
O'Reilly carry this product?
Sure. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
We'll give it a shot, and I'll get back with you.
I'm excited. I'm excited. And, take care. And
I appreciate the information.
Yeah, I appreciate the question.
It's just, I was not getting a straight answer, and they fixed the cause,
we're breaking
believe,
new ground. The reason you don't get straight answers because you're not supposed to do this. I mean, there's nobody that would imply that this is going to fix your problem. But if you're asking me what I would do, what do you have to lose except everything to gain? And that's what I'm excited about hearing back from you in a couple of 3 weeks or a month, whatever it takes long. Hey, Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you much.
Well, folks, there you have it. And so I understand that we have Amy on the line. Amy, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby.
How are you this morning?
I'm well. I don't know what happened that last time. I was listening and it was ringing, but my phone wasn't ringing.
Well,
I don't understand. I have video, too, to send you of it. I was listening.
It's a car show. Therefore, you're supposed to have technical problems along the way.
I know.
Well, let me just share this with you. What do you drive, by the way?
I drive a Lexus IS 250.
Those are beautiful automobiles. I've had such a respect for Lexus automobiles because initially, when Lexus first came out, possibly way before you were familiar with Lexus cars, the Mercedes had that whole segment. And Lexus came out and says, hey, I mean, how dare Toyota? They did. They came out, they made a separate line, they made separate dealerships, they had separate everything, and they did a whale of a job. Now, I want to fast forward to the Passport Max radar detector. I got to share this with you. And here's and so this is what you have won by joining and by entering Car Clinic Sweepstakes.
Okay.
And it is a Passport Max, but it's an HD, which means high definition. And I just think about this. NASA uses, well, first, let me just say this. Radar detectors will false. Radar detectors look for frequencies. The HD radar detector uses the same technology that NASA uses. And so let's say that you had a signal coming from outer space, way outer space. And that signal was, and I'm trying to remember exactly what Ron Jividan, who is our friend and partner at Escort, said, but here's how strong the signal is. It's a decimal with 16 zeros and then a 1. That's how infinitesimal that signal is. And NASA uses the signal to determine, and with all this scatter that's coming in from outer space, determine that specific signal. And that same technology is what the Passport Max incorporates. And basically what I'm saying is, and you will find this, you will, I promise you, Amy, you will find this. You will find yourself picking up a radar signal, and you look around and you say, well, this radar must have false because there's no signal here. And a mile down the road, a half a mile down the road, right there in the woods or right there on the side of the road will be the very signal. So it is a fantastic unit, and I want to congratulate you. You are the winner of that. Now, I understand your dad lives in Lakeland, Florida.
Yes, he does.
Well, he'll be a happy guy. He'll be a happy camper.
I'm very happy. I'm a happy girl.
Well, you should be, and I congratulations on you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put you back on hold, and again, you will receive a Passport Max radar detector. One of the things that you're going to be able to do is to tune it by setting the speed warning limit. Read the directions. If you have any problems, be sure and call me back. And folks, that's all the time that we have for this hour of Bobby Likis. Another great hour coming up. Tune in after the top of the hour break. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us just like Amy did.
Car Clinic Productions Incorporated, and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. New 2017 federal fuel economy standards present an opportunity for ethanol blends above E15. Ethanol's high-octane rating is a valuable asset to automakers, as engines are designed to increase efficiency to meet 54.5 mpg standards for car and light-duty trucks. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
What can you do to help your child succeed?
What can you do? What can you do to help your child succeed in the new school year?
Set clear rules for internet use, especially about sharing personal information.
Encourage your children to check out library books and read to them often.
Ask your teenager to write down her personal strengths and interests to plan for life after high school.
Teach me about healthy eating by leading by example.
Read what your kids read and discuss it with them.
Visit school.
Getting your children ready for the new school year starts long before the first day of school. Hi, I'm Mary Bell, president of the Wisconsin Education Association Council. To help your child succeed this year, we've assembled tips from some of Wisconsin's educators and made them available at weac.org. Find out how you can prepare your child with tips on everything from reading to eating healthy to staying safe on the internet. We'd also like to hear your stories and ideas for connecting your family to our classrooms. Find out more and share your stories at weac.org.
Stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know. I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, I was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know. Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders. I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push. You feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does, so safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project. You gotta hit it every day. My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. That was Marty White. And just recently, WSRE, that's public television, is our affiliate locally here, not Car Clinic affiliate, but for the Gulf Coast, and Pensacola State College actually, and Jeff Weeks is the host, and he interviews folks on WSRE. And I mention this because Marty White, who is our announcer, I've known this gentleman for years and years and years, was recently interviewed there, and he's a typical good old boy. He's been on the radio locally, so he's a host. He's done many telethons and many things for the local community, as most hosts do, both radio and television. So that's Marty White. So a little testament to Marty White there. 888-227-2546. 888 Car Clinic is the number for you to call as well. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology. Batteries with Power Frame Grid Technology have better electrical flow, cranking power, and reliability. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside and know that you're getting true strength on the inside of your next battery. Learn more at powerframe.com. Also, I want a special thanks to Royal Purple, our longtime partners and sponsors, and the oil of my choice, and I'll be back. Heat. It can destroy your engine. Beat the heat with Purple Ice from Royal Purple. Purple Ice is a high-performance synthetic additive for your radiator that improves heat transfer and prevents engine overheating. Nothing cools like Purple Ice, and Purple Ice works with red or green coolant. Go to reduceengineheat.com for more information. Then pick up Purple Ice at Advance and O'Reilly Auto Parts and Pep Boys. That's Purple Ice.
O'Reilly. Not an O'Reilly O Rewards member yet? Now you can sign up online at orewards.com. Enroll today and start earning $5 back on every $150 you spend. Visit orewards.com and become an O'Reilly O Rewards member today. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How can you improve battery performance? Make sure your next battery has Power Frame Grid Technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology that's designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. Power Frame Grid Technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need an AC Pro.
Know any?
Yeah, you.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
I did it! It's like a freezer in here.
Be a pro with new AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
Got a sweater?
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Nothing can wreck an evening like getting busted for not listening. And because at Molson we've been helping you make friends since 1786, here's a practice exercise to help you focus on her, even in a distracting bar. Listen closely, you will be quizzed.
My cousin Valerie had a baby last week.
He tries the right side. He breaks the tackle. Oh!
He's 7 pounds, 2 ounces. So cute. Blue eyes, red hair. He was a breech baby, so you know.
I just want a guy to give me a good time all night long. No strings attached.
For her. She was in labor for 17 hours.
Dudes, who wants some Molson? I'm buying.
I hope. They named him Aiden. I like it. Masculine.
Oh, is my phone showing again?
Probably because they met in London.
Okay, what was her cousin's name, baby's weight, sex, eye color, hair, time and labor? If you answered Valerie Aiden, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, boy, blue, red, 17 hours, congratulations. If you didn't, keep practicing. With an easy drinking Molson, of course. Molson, making friends since 1786. Imported from Canada by Molson USA, LLC, Golden, Colorado.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for tuning in. It's my pleasure to join you and to have you join me. Just consider me your personal car consultant Saturdays from 10 till noon. Some stations carry both of our hours. Some air only 1 hour, and other stations will tape air and tape delay the station, or the broadcast, the global cast. We are also live every Saturday at watchbobbylive.com. And at this time, I want to make sure that I I share with you your opinions, and your questions are valuable to me. And now we've made it even easier to get your question, your automotive questions, obviously, I'm a car guy, answered. So our Facebook page, that's facebook.com/Bobby Likis, Likis, is now open for you to leave me a comment or a question directly on my page. This will allow me to respond to you concerning your specific car questions. So if you didn't get a chance to get on the air, or you have stage fright on radio, or for whatever reason that you didn't get the show, don't fret. Just head on over to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. Post your question or comment, and I'll choose one question to be featured. And when I choose this question, not that we don't answer more questions, but I choose your question on the Car Clinic Global Cast the following Saturday, or any Saturday, from our Facebook's What's Up Wednesday, which is really kind of that's a new feature that we've added, right, Tony? The What's Up Wednesday?
It is, yeah. Well, we're doing Lauren, by the way, who is our marketing team leader that handles our social media. She's added a theme for every day. So Wednesday is What's Up Wednesday, which is sort of a smorgasbord of what's up. Whatever's going on. And we will send to you a Car Clinic T-shirt, and it's a T-shirt I wear and Tony you wear, and all that. True. And this is not one of those flimsy. It's a 100% cotton, really nice T-shirt. Again, go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. It's fun stuff. And Lauren Saha is to Bobby Likis Car Clinic what Marlena Solomon is to Royal Purple with regard to social media. She's really, really great. And I want to congratulate once again Amy Rizak in Boston, the winner of the, thanks to Ron Jividan at Escort's Passport Max radar detector, and she lives in Boston, Massachusetts. Her father is a regular listener, and I understand, and listens to Bobby Likis Car Clinic on WLKF 1430 AM in Lakeland, Florida. And Nancy Kateris, Mike James, General Manager, Program Director there on Car Clinic affiliate in Lakeland, Florida, WLKF 1430 AM. We appreciate you. I hope that you appreciate what we bring to the table every Saturday, and I will open the phones. And we have now joining us Kim. Kim is the lady who will answer the phone. Miss Jan, who's with us and still with us on the Car Clinic Service pre-repair side, has retired from the broadcast side. She wanted her Saturdays back. So welcome, Kim, when you call. And say a special hello to her. Feel free to give her a hard time.
Yeah, right. Well, I was going to say that, but thanks, Tony. They're both in the other room. They're in the control room, and I'm in the studio. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. So Jesse, we have Jesse on the phone. He's got a Volvo XE, a 90. Jesse, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Let's talk cars.
Oh, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Got a XC90, and this morning have coolant on the garage floor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's the same seal system that GMC uses, so the only way in or out basically is the expansion tank.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at a loss as to how much, say, 16 ounces of fluid could end up on the floor. Now, it was in transit. There's a 50-50 chance there was some jostling and angling scenarios with the engine.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't know if you knew anything offhand.
No. Well, what is your question?
How that much coolant could get out of a sealed system onto my garage floor?
Are you concerned that it literally overflowed that much, and you don't think you got a leak?
I'm not sure.
Well, you got a leak.
$2,000 question.
Well, you got a leak. I mean, if you got 2 ounces or 16, if you got 16 ounces or if you got a lot of leak on the floor, it's going to be easier to find.
Yeah, it's on the floor, but where it came from
that's
is
easy.
my $50,000 question.
Well, that's the question. Okay. Well, of course, there are two ways to find out. Number one. It should be put you should look under the hood, have a cursory look, which I'm sure you've already done.
Yeah, did that. Didn't see any smoking guns. The expansion tank is at the the expansion tank is at the correct level, so it hasn't been sucked dry, which doesn't make the diagnosis any easier.
Well, let's see. If the expansion tank is at the correct level, you could have, let me think a minute. You could have, of course, I think you got a leak somewhere. It could be water pump. And see, water pumps have two seals. They have a seal that holds the coolant in, and they have a double lip seal that keeps the dirt out. The radiator cap, well, now your cap, you don't have an expansion tank. You don't have a reservoir. You have your reservoir is part of the cooling system in that Volvo.
Right, just like GMC.
Just like yeah. Because if it's hot, you don't take the cap off the reservoir like a normal.
Right.
So here's the bottom line. What you have to do is, I would say, take it to a service shop and put it on the rack, and I would look on the typical the water pump weep hole. Are you familiar, Jesse, with water pumps that have holes? All water pumps have a hole in the underneath the shaft where the shaft comes out. Are you familiar with that?
For the freezing?
No. If a water pump seal leaks, the coolant bypasses the seal and would come out the nose of the water pump, right?
Yep.
If it did, it would throw water on every belt and potentially damage the paint and everything else. So manufacturers always put no, it's not a bypass. They just simply drill a hole.
Easy way out, gotcha.
They drill a hole so that if whatever oil gets past that seal, it doesn't make it to the end of the shaft because it drains out that hole and runs down the front of the block.
Yeah, I had that on the GMC.
Yeah, all cars have.
I've seen that in action.
Yeah. Well, sound like you've had some water leaks, so some coolant leaks. So the first thing that I would do, I don't know if you've got a dentist, the mirror that's on the stick, or some remote mirror, and you can, with the engine shut off, of course, look down at that weep hole, or take a flashlight. You'd be surprised, Jesse. You can see more. With regard to leaks in a dark garage using a flashlight than you can by opening the hood in broad daylight, because you specifically, when you hold the light, it shines on one specific area. So you look at one area, then another, and even if there's no fresh evidence of a coolant leak, you can see what I call ring around the collar. And imagine if you sprayed a window with Windex and then wiped the Windex off, and you look back 10 minutes later, you can see where you sprayed it. So you want to look for, and this is on minor leaks and on fuel leaks and also on coolant leaks, you want to look for where the leak was, because if it's leaking, but on the other hand, if it's leaking as badly as you say, you should be able to see where it is. So if I were you, with the car cool, I would, take the cap off of the coolant. You looked at the coolant from the outside and can tell it's at the same level, right?
Yeah, looked at the cold, hot lines. It was there. Checked the color. Did you?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Did you take the cap off?
Took the cap off.
Okay, all right. So what you're
See
seeing?
if there's anything,
so what
shouldn't be in there?
So my question. Let me answer my question. Well, you answer my question. You took the cap off, and the coolant that you saw on the outside through the opaque fill line is the same indeed coolant that's real coolant. The reason I asked that question is because I checked coolant for a my customer, and he came back into my shop and said, "You didn't check my coolant." I said, "I did, because I personally did it." And I didn't check it. I didn't take the cap off. I saw the coolant line, and it was ring around the collar. It was where there was. So when you say you check it, I want to make sure you took the cap off and you saw liquid where you thought that line was on the outside. You got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Reservoir cap off.
Good. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure, because the mine is a terrible thing to waste here. So, what you can do is just fill it to the hot line when it's warm, cap it off, as you know, and drive it and monitor it. And it's going to show you there's a leak, and probably it's going to be a seam in a radiator.
Okay.
It could be a water pump, but it's probably going to be a seam in a radiator.
73,000 miles. So, does that mileage help?
No, mileage doesn't. What year is the car?
04.
Well, that's That's young, but, low mileage and young cars could be leaks. Jesse, good luck. Let me know if I can help you again. Folks, got to take a short commercial break. Then I'm going to come back and take a call from Bill in Arkansas. Stant is the nation's leading manufacturer of automotive fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. Stant brings their original equipment expertise to the Stant line of quality aftermarket products. Take fuel caps. Stant offers the only aftermarket fuel cap designed and manufactured with all the safety features of OE caps. A lost motion feature gives the cap handle some freedom to turn while maintaining a seal. A breakaway groove allows the cap to remain sealed even if some of the cap has broken away. Both are safety features, helping prevent fuel leakage during a crash. Further, Stant locking fuel caps protect your vehicle from fuel theft and vandalism. Older fuel cap seals can leak over time, which allows fuel vapors to escape and can also affect gas mileage. Replacing your gas cap is an easy and inexpensive maintenance item for your vehicle. Drive to Stant.com to learn more. Stant, we work well under pressure.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
it isn't,
then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah, you.
Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
How can you improve battery performance? PowerFrame Grid Technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. PowerFrame Grid Technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit PowerFrame.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
I'm your tailgate grill. Your buddy was in such a rush to get into the game, he didn't quite put me out. I see you bought the industrial-sized bottle of lighter fluid. Smart. And if you got cut rate insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get an Allstate agent and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Call us with your car questions at 888-227-2546. Jan will put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Speaking of on the air, with us is Rich Dwyer from K&N. You've heard this gentleman before, but today it's a revelation. You know, your vehicle air conditioning and your heating system is a complex unit. It's rugged and delicate all at the same time, it seems. And the electronics that control your automobile's AC system react to multiple inputs. In some cases, they monitor in multiple ways the AC evaporator coil that's under your dash, and keeping it clean is really important to good AC performance and longevity, and of course the cost to repair. That's where I come in. And with that in mind, Rich is going to share with us information, a special segment that we call the K&N Consumer Corner about cabin air filters. Rich, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Oh, it's always great to be back with you, Bobby. How you doing today?
Couldn't be any better, thank you. And, you know, I got to share with you that we have so many, just as an aside, and I want to get started, but we have so many Car Clinic Service pre-repair customers who use K&N filters, and I use all the air filters in my car. But we're talking about a different kind of filter today, so share with our listeners and our viewers a few things about, first, how they might maintain their vehicle's AC heating systems more properly.
Right. Well, Bobby, you know, many, many years ago, back in the mid to late 60s, K&N introduced a washable, reusable air filter for the engine. And it started out in motorcycles, and it has since, in the last 45-plus years, that washable, reusable filter has branched out to where we have everything from motorcycles, ATVs, boats, there's even some airplanes, drones. I mean, you name it, we make air filters for all of those vehicles for the internal combustion motor. And some have even adapted it for the new, all-electric motors, because you have to filter the air going over the battery. So what we have now is a washable, reusable filter for the cabin of the car. A lot of people don't even realize that many of the late model cars, and it's getting more and more so since the early 2000s, the high-end vehicles had what was called cabin air filters. Now it's blending itself into Toyota Corollas. I mean, you name it. So many vehicles have a cabin air filter, and these things, depending on where you live, need to be changed like almost seasonally. If you live in an area with a lot of leaves, pine needles, very dusty atmosphere, the air that comes into your vehicle, be it just through the ventilation or like you were talking about, which is a perfect example, over the evap for the air conditioner, you need to keep that clean, and that's exactly what the cabin air filter does, and it keeps the inside of the car smelling fresh and everything. So we're real happy with this. So we've been working on this project a couple of years, and we just introduced it just recently. It's a very, very new product line.
Well, Rich, how does a car owner know whether or not they have a cabin air filter in their vehicle?
The best thing for them to do is to look in their owner's manual, and it'll point out whether, it'll tell them if they have one, and it'll tell them the location of it. And it's usually either some are under the hood, up by where the windshield drops in underneath the hood. There will be an area there where they can access it. I think most of them are under the dash, usually right either accessible through the glove compartment where you just drop the glove compartment door down further, or you go up behind the glove compartment. It's generally in one of those three areas.
Well, there's another question that comes into my mind, Rich, and we're talking with Rich Dwyer, manager of K&N's warranty department and technical guru that is right there in the thick of things to test products. But speaking of testing products, with regard to fit, and this is a system, the AC is a sealed system because it creates water, so the water can't leak in the floor, and whenever that happens, people know that they got to challenge with a drain restricted or plugged up or what have you. But the K&N filter, is it a drop-in? So can you take the old, dirty, musty odor filter out the factory and put the K&N right in to drop in?
Yes, it fits in exactly the way that the OE filter does, but it's just a much more robust design. These things come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. And if you're familiar with the K&N product line, our washable, reusable filters, we have a cleaner and recharger kit for the automotive air filters. We do the same thing for the cabin air filters, but it's a cleaner and a refresher. And what this refresher does is it has a property to it that creates static electricity across the filter element itself so that it traps even smaller particles. For people with allergies and things like that, having a cabin air filter in your car is it's a real blessing. It makes a big difference in the driving experience.
Well, there's no question about that. We recently had a Lexus SUV in-house, and we've posted actually that picture online, and I can tell you I carry around just so that I'll be reassured and show people how nasty these filters are. So the fact is, we couldn't clean this. It was an original filter. It had all but fallen apart. And even though it blocked the airflow and was filthy, and that's an understatement, I don't see how the air conditioner cooled. And to that end, it wasn't 3 days later that the lady called us back that we had changed the filter and thanked us and wanted to know what we had done to her air conditioned system. We didn't touch the system per se, and literally it was blocking the airflow. So for our listeners out there, and Rich, you can, I'm sure, agree with this, if you think about the AC filter in your house, where you drop the grate down and replace that AC filter, the ones that are so stopped up that they sag because they have to give in or else they won't flow. So I would think that over a period of and I think the warranty you mentioned was 10 years, 100,000 miles.
Right.
That's at least 3, if not 4, cabin air filter dollars that people would save by buying the K&N cabin air filter?
Oh, right. By the time you clean our filter, which we recommend cleaning about every 12 months, which is seasonal, and that doesn't apply to every one of them, but if you're in kind of an environment, boy, after you've cleaned this filter like a second time, you're saving the price of a filter every time you clean it. These things are priced very reasonable, and it's something that, guys, so many people just don't even realize they have one, but they wonder, they're going in and they're buying these air fresheners and trying to figure out why their car is smelling like their 14-year-old son's, bedroom, and that's where it comes from. If you ever pull one of those filters out, a dirty one like you were talking on that Lexus, you pull it out and they reek. I mean, it's amazing what those things trap. That one that was in that Lexus that you were talking about, that air conditioner, that compressor was running probably 2 to 3 times more than it needed to, trying to keep the cabin cooled down. It makes a huge difference. It's really surprising.
Folks, your car may or may not have a cabin air filter. The later model, the more it's apt to have a filter. And later model meaning 2000 and up, because my 2001 Town & Country certainly has the cabin air filter. Rich Dwyer, K&N's warranty and filter guru. Again, knfilters.com is the place to go. In fact, I recently visited the KN Filters site and saw that there's tons of information about reusable, washable, new cabin air filters made by K&N. And you mentioned the warranty is 100,000 miles or 10 years. And I want to thank you for joining us today. And also, we have posted, Tony's got this on our Watch Bobby Live as we speak, this atrocious filter that our customers were driving around with that in their car. And I won't bring an analogy, but I can just tell you, folks, you breathe in your car things that you wouldn't imagine that are really, in some cases, Rich, dirtier than the atmosphere outside.
Oh, my gosh, unbelievable. Yeah, going through this process of our designers, developing this product line, we've seen, and you've seen it because you've been doing this a long time. This is not new news to you. But I'm sure that you're still shocked all the time by what, when you pull that cabin air filter out, you look at it and you go, oh, my gosh. And if it's 3-4 years old, I'll guarantee you, when you pull that out, the owner will be shocked when he sees it. I mean, he will never let it go that long again.
No.
Once they see what's been pumped into the cabin.
I agree.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich, thanks again for joining us. Great information. And, folks, you go to knfilters.com and take a look at what Rich and I have been discussing here. Don't ride around with that musty odor air conditioning system. There's a way to avoid that that you can do personally, or your local Bobby Likis Car Connect Service Free Repair can do. That's a plug for my own business. Hey, Rich, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Bobby.
It's really unbelievable how this, and if you were tuned in to watch Bobby Live there, you'll see that how gross that filter is, and it's really I'm glad to see that K&N has stepped outside of their box, so to speak, and now provide the air filters that filter the cabin air as well. Take a call from Bill in Arkansas. Bill, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your show. I listen to you all the time.
Hi, thank you.
I've got a problem. I got a 2008 Chrysler Sebring convertible, and here for about the last year or so, I started with a light clunking in the front end, and it's just gotten progressively worse, and it's more of a low speed, like I'm just idling through a parking lot or something like that. It has all that kind of noise going on, and it feels like it's underneath my feet. I've replaced the tie rods, I've replaced the stabilizer links, I replaced the sway rod bushings, and I'm still getting it. And I just had a friend of mine mention something about motor mounts that could be doing this, and I was wanting to get your opinion on that to see if that's possible, or see if that's otherwise than that I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what else to tear apart on that.
I hear you, Bill. A question. You said the stabilizer. You're talking about the sway bar ends.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and the link ends, that's a common problem. And did you replace the sway bar rubber bushings that support and hold the sway bar to the firewall?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, because that's also another, and there's one more link that is, and I'm trying to remember because we had one that drove us crazy, and we finally found it. It's located to the driver. It's near the steering column on the driver's side. There's a link there. I'm trying to remember what that was, but my memory fails me. That's been several years, but I know that we had a particular problem. As far as the motor mounts, it's an 08 model automobile. You would primarily check the lower rear mount first, the very back one that's in the rear. And not only does that fit your description, but it's also the one that takes the biggest, the most heat. And I don't mean literally the heat temperature-wise. I mean the most abuse. So I definitely would check that mount. And here's the challenge, Bill, with checking the mount. And you can put the car on a rack, and you can take the typical pry bar and move the engine around and say, yeah, this thing moves around a lot. But any engine's gonna move with a pry bar, period. The only way that you can really check a mount is to pull the mount out and replace it. I say, for your case, because you've already spent money, go ahead and replace the lower rear mount and compare it visually. And try it and let me know. Back with your calls.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Increasing MPG keeps more money in your pocket. How can you improve gas mileage? Check front end alignment, tire pressure, and once the cabin is cooled, run a lower AC setting. Also, drive sensibly. Abrupt starts and stops can lower mileage by up to 33%. Visit escortradar.com to learn about special offers on the Passport IQ, a GPS nav and radar detector in one. Don't just drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Willie Works.
Hi.
Back to answer all your laundry questions, like how to get out those tough embedded odors.
Like when your husband comes back from the plant. Woo! Smelling like he brought the whole place home.
Or when one of the cows escapes and you have to wrestle it to the ground.
Uh-huh.
What? I think that's a good one.
They're all good ones, and I have the solution. Febreze for the wash.
Ooh.
Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Wow! One capful is all it takes?
Yep, Febreze for the wash. One cap, one wash.
And say goodbye to odors.
Another great place to use Visa.
Your heart pounds. Your body sweats. Whatever you do, don't look down. Okay, you can look. Because this is the Boulder Rock Club, the largest indoor climbing club in Colorado, where 10,000 square feet of scalable walls give you all the thrills of a Rocky Mountain climb. So bring your sense of adventure and your Visa card, because the Boulder Rock Club will take you to the top, but they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to today's broadcast of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us. Ted will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. Before we take another call, And thank you for those of you who've called in with your car question. Folks, thousands and thousands of our Car Clinic listeners have entered another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes, and listeners from every state. And in the past, we've had winners from all over the nation, Dallas to Detroit, Atlanta to Seattle, Boston to San Francisco. And this time, our winner is from the Big Apple. Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes winner is, and Tony, could I get a drum roll, please? Ken Brown from Brooklyn, New York. So, Tony, if you would please, let's try to get Ken Brown from Brooklyn, New York on the phone. And while Tony is dialing up this kind of a clunky Gentner system, I just got to tell you that this gentleman has no idea what he's about to receive. So this should really be fun, and you could enter sweepstakes in the future as well. So here we go.
Hi, may I help you?
Hi, good morning. This is Bobby Likis from Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Is this Ken?
This is Ken, yes.
Well, Ken, I'm calling to you to let you know that you have won for our Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes, and you're the winner of one of our sweepstakes prizes.
Oh, outstanding. Thank you. That's very exciting. Thank you so much.
Well, you're more than welcome. And not to, tease you anymore, but just for your information, what you won today, we have 5 or 6. We have Royal Purple Leather Lambskin Jacket. We have the Renewable Fuels Association, which is a $250 gift certificate. We have a radar detector from Escort. But you are the winner of our Car Clinic Network's $500 gas card. So congratulations.
Oh, that is fantastic. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What do you drive?
Well, we have 2 family cars. One is a 2006 Ford Explorer, the Eddie Bauer edition, and the other one is a 2013 G37, the Sport edition.
Yeah, I like the G37. In fact, we looked at one of those, I think a couple of years ago, and it has a high-performance feel. Now, it's a kind of a brisk feel to me. How does yours drive?
It's it's a sport edition, so it's I guess souped up as much as G37s can be souped up. But mine drives great, no problems at all. Just my only regret is the rather paltry gas mileage in the city.
Well, you got to give up something, And who drives the other vehicle?
My wife usually drives the other vehicle.
I understand. So just you and your wife there in New York?
Myself, my wife, and we have 3 children, 1 son and 2 daughters.
Wow, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Your children in school, college perhaps?
2 in college, 1 in high school.
Oh, well, you can use this $500 then, Ken.
Well, I figure maybe they'll take it as part of the tuition.
Well, you can certainly offset the cost of gasoline, no question about it.
Oh,
and
for sure.
We will send to you. In fact, my team will follow up. I'll put you back on hold rather than to let you go, but just to let you know, we will send you 5 individual $100 gas cards so that you, your wife, and any other members of your family that drive, you can distribute those rather than have to worry about you take the card and maybe today someone else takes the card. So we're going to send you 5 individual $100 gas cards, courtesy of Bobby Likis and our crew here from the center of the automotive universe, Car Clinic Network.
Oh, that's terrific, and that makes it even more convenient to use them.
Well, we thank you for entering the sweepstakes and for tuning in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I'm going to put you back on hold now, and I thank you very much, and congratulations again, Ken.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. It's a great treat to hear this.
Well, there you go, folks. That's way cool. You can't get any better than that. A $500 gas card split 5 ways. Congratulations again to Ken for winning the $500 gas cards from Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. And Tony, I did say Big Gas Sweepstakes. And thanks to all of our Car Clinic listeners, all you folks who tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and who entered another Bobby's Big Gas Sweepstakes. Stay tuned. We'll have more sweeps where that came from. And don't forget to check out our new social media contest and giveaways, where all you have to do is to like or follow us to win. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, and Tumblr.
And Bobby, speaking of social media, I just want to point out, Lauren, our marketing team leader, has just done a fantastic job expanding it. Am I wrong?
No, she really has, Tony, and I'm sure that part of our audience here listens on terrestrial radio stations, and of course, one of the things that you always remember, folks, is that we are available at watchbobbylive.com from 10 till noon Eastern Time every Saturday. And Ken sounds like he was a happy camper there as well. And speaking of another happy camper, I want to take this opportunity, and I thank you folks for holding. I'm going to Roger next, and we had a gentleman asking about a chip for their diesel, and I've used chips for diesels, and you have to have the right kind of application that works. But at this time, a special reach out to my youngest daughter, Misty, in O'Fallon, Missouri, just out of St. Louis there. This Monday, is her birthday. So happy birthday, Misty Ann Likis. I love you, and this is a special day. It's her 40th. Okay, so I said, Tony, you said don't mention that, but hey, well, so what? I'm still thinking of her. Okay, we'll go to Nebraska and take a call from Roger, who is patient. And Roger, thanks for holding.
Yes. Hi, Bobby.
Hi, sir. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us.
Yeah. My question goes to a 1993 Chevrolet Corvette.
Okay.
It had a rough idle to it, and it was just sitting there idling, and the Chevrolet dealership took it in and put plugs and plug wires on it, and they wanted to put a distributor cap on it. For some reason, they couldn't get one. But they found a rebuilt distributor. Mm-hmm. They put a whole rebuilt distributor and cap in it.
Right.
Put it all back together, and now it idles okay. But now when they go down the road, it'll go into a detonation. It'll knock, and then the knock sensor detects it and retards the timing.
Yeah.
And as soon as it does that, it just stumbles and falls all over itself, and it just continually does that. And they can't figure out what's wrong with it.
That car has an HEI big distributor assembly, right?
Yeah, it goes up underneath the water pump.
Oh no, it's the front mounted. Oh, it's that one.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they don't want to. I told them to put the old distributor back in, but it's a 5-hour job, and they're dragging their feet on it.
Well, obviously, what someone needs to do is someone needs to check with a timing light, the actual timing of the engine, to see that it, number one, is installed correctly. Which it probably is, but number two, there may be a map sensor or some mapping that's erroneous, because if you've got this ping, we know that you've got a problem with ignition timing, and that needs to be checked. Now, for the life of me, I don't know why GM decided that they would mount that unit out there. I think part of that was to streamline the overall height of the engine, because you got firewall clearance. Back pre-93, they had the HEI, which is the huge ignition distributor cap that was in the back of the engine, and I can't tell you how many of those things people broke. I'm sure we broke a few when we replaced motor mounts or had the engine jacked up or something. I mean, that's just always typically a problem. So you say they're dragging their feet. I'm going to put you back to them, because it is up to them to determine whether or not the timing is correct. And the only way that anyone can do that is with a timing light and check the mapping. Then there's specifics in the GM repair manual, and there should be no problem checking that.
Huh. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
They changed the ignition. They changed a spark control or something module out too. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but that didn't do it any good either.
Well, but you're telling me that you've got serious pre-ignition or detonation, rather, not pre-ignition, but detonation.
Yeah.
And you've tried.
I went on the road with him, and it happens at a full wide open throttle.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were driving through town at about 45 mile an hour, it would do it just going along at 45 mile an hour. You could hear it ping.
Right.
And as soon as it would ping and knock, and he had his gauges in there, diagnostic gauges, and then it would ping and knock, and then the timing would retard, and it would stumble on itself then.
Well, it definitely is I don't have. I wish I had a silver bullet, but I need more information. But you need the information, the technician, and that is to actually check the timing itself and make sure that that's right on. There's got to be some challenge. And if they have to take the pump back apart and get to it, so be it. That's what has to be done.
Okay.
Okay, my
Alrighty.
friend. Hey, let me know what when you get to the other side there, and folks, if you've got any suggestions, any of you vet guys or Chevy V8 guys that are in tune with that particular setup of distributor, let me know. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Carlson Quality Brake Hardware Kits, and folks, you need to replace the brake hardware every time you have a brake job performed on your car. And those are the little spring clips and guides and rubber boots and parts of the car of the brake system that you may or may not even know about. And if you're in the business, you do know about them because you got to take them loose to get to the pads and the rotors. Just make sure that you insist on Carlson because they are certified fit and performance. That's Carlson Quality Brake Hardware. Take a call from Richard. Richard, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bobby,
good morning.
Show.
Thank you. Appreciate your kind words, man.
I've got a Ford 02 F250 diesel with the 7.3 engine, and it's got 193 miles on it. It's never been chipped out.
Right.
My girlfriend has an 03 Expedition with the 7.3, and it was chipped out when it was new, and she gets about 19 and a half miles to the gallon, and I get about 14 and a half. I was wondering if it was a bad idea to chip out mine now that it has so many miles on it.
Nah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I mean, if it's healthy, you're not going to, just because, now understand, the boost is going to be a little boostier, okay? And the fuel curve is going to be changed a bit. And folks, we're talking, just so you'll know, we're talking diesel engines here and chips. We're not talking about gasoline because chips will not increase MPG in a gasoline engine. They're for horsepower, they're for performance, and they're for that right foot and seat of the pants. I like this. With regard to the diesel, you get all that and you get increased MPG because all diesels come from the factory more detuned than all gasoline engines, and yes, all engines come detuned so that you don't hear pinging and popping and what have you, and to always leave room for growth and other tolerances. So in your case, Richard, if it's a healthy vehicle and you know you've got 200,000 miles, 193,000 miles on it, if it's a healthy vehicle, I would have no qualms about changing the boost on it. I would have, and just for you to know, if a week later or 6 months later something goes out or the turbo goes out, it's only because it was going to go out anyway. You're just not going to break those things. Now, having said that, I want you to know that there are different chips that you can buy, and there are 1, 2, and 3 phases. Switch number 1 has X boost. Switch number 2 has 100. Switch number 3, or position 3, has 150 horsepower. You don't want to use the maximum. You want to get, and so don't go spend this much money on a 3-phase chip. Buy the least expensive, not the least expensive, but buy the least boosting that you can get, and you're going to pick up a couple of miles per gallon. I've seen it happen time and time again. Hey, thanks for your call. I think we lost you and you called back in. So appreciate you, and let me know how it works out for you. I do endorse the chip, and I say go for it.
So I was going to go with the super chip, and you're saying not the highest one, but a mid-range boost?
Well, yes, and talk with them and find out what they offer, because when you go to the ultimate requires pyrometers so you can check the exhaust temperature, because you're really going outside you're maximizing everything, and you don't want it maximized because you're on a ragged edge. You don't want to race. You just want to get a little more performance, so don't go the full boat. Hey, thanks for your call. And speaking of the full boat, earlier you heard Rich Dwyer on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We talked about cabin air filters. Well, for your information, I have personal experience, not with cabin air filters, but with the difference that K&N Products makes, and specifically, we have the little smart car. It has, the half car. Small car, small engine, but it's big on horsepower. 72 horsepower, 62 cubic inches, no turbo. How? High RPM. Why K&N? It allows more air to flow in the same engine at the same throttle opening, and I can assure you it made a huge difference in the power of the little smart car. And I appreciate you tuning in today. Last but not least, I want to thank General Tire, and I want to share with you the General Tire, the G-Max AS03, the ultimate high-performance all-season tire. Visit generaltire.com for more details. There's also another tire, and I'll share this with you next week. It's the Ultimax RT43. It actually has a visual alignment indicator on the tread, as well as a replacement tire monitor system on the tread. It's the only tire where you can look at the tread, and the tread looks up at you and says, "Replace me, replace tire." It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. Check it out, General Tire. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bobby Likis, Car Clinic. Have a fantastic weekend and take care of your car. And come back next week to see me. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Phase separation is the separation of gasoline and water in your tank, which can cause corrosion. All hydrocarbon gasoline with no ethanol can suspend about 0.15 teaspoons of water before it separates. E10 can suspend about 4 teaspoons. That's over 26 times more. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Go ahead, hit me. Yeah, come on, in the face. I need